Today, I'm going to be talking about accountability, and I have a special friend here, my personal trainer. He's been with me for over 10 years, and it's been an amazing ride to be on and off season and have somebody there to help you figure it out all along the way at every stage. So, welcome, Mike Davies, beefcake professional.
How are you? Good to see you.
Oh, it's so good to see you. Oh my God.
I think it's been 14 years. You said over 10 years. I think it might have been 14.
No, 2010 was when I found you, because that year was the year where every judge, I think, had told me, what are you doing different? Because you came in with a different package.
Good.
Yeah. And it was when I started training with you. I went to your boot camp, I think in January.
I used to come out there every year and do a big boot
I
camp.
know. We got to get you back.
You know, I would love to come back out there. I know with everything being, here and there, and I'm still in contact with Shannon Gill, who used to be the host of that. Michelle Mabry, if a lot of people know her in your area.
Yes.
Longtime pro of mine. She's reached out to me. Hey,
well, Sandy Grant, I've had her on the podcast.
Yes. Your, perfect opportunity with your situation. If somebody wants to host and sponsor me to come out there and we make a big deal of it like we used to.
Let's do it.
Out there, because I'll tell you what, I'm still in the trenches. I'm still,
I know you are.
326th person turned pro.
Yes, see.
Another fitness girl, by the way. You know, the foundation of my business.
I saw her. We competed in 2019 together. Yeah.
Yes, you did. Absolutely. You remember Savannah.
Savannah. I know.
It's it was a tough ride for her for 3 years, but she finally made it through. Right.
And it pays off.
Yeah, great routine. And dude, I tell you what, you want to talk about some accountability? I was hard as hell on her. I've been tough on her. I mean, she's in my gym every day.
Tell everybody, like, you come train with Beefcake because you're serious. You don't come to train with him if you want some smoke, blown up your ass. You come to train with him because he's going to tell you the truth.
That's right. And for all of you girls or guys out there who are, have a trainer like that, you're not going anywhere. I hate to say it. They can have all the knowledge in the world. They can be the nicest people. I get that. But if you seriously are passionate and have some goals, you got to give it someone who's going to tell you the truth and hold you accountable.
Yeah.
Like, I don't mix words. Imagine that. I mean, you'll send me photos and stuff. If we're getting ready for a show, blah, blah, blah,
yes.
blah. If you're doing well, the less I say, the better off you are. I'll be like, yeah, you're good. You're on point, blah, blah, blah. But if you're not, you're going to get that. What the fuck are you doing?
Yes.
Because this isn't, we're not where we should be, and listen, it's a two-way street. It might, you might be doing everything I tell you, and I'm the one who's off. I'm missing something. And then I have to hold myself accountable. And a lot of coaches will not do that, because I have found that this is a business full of narcissists and people who just, they're all experts. And with social media and everything today, I just wow. I just literally throw up my hands sometimes, like, you got to.
I follow you. I see you. I know.
Give me I just like, you know what? Find somebody that you can connect with, somebody that you're okay with the accountability that they hold you to. Okay. I'll throw some F words at you, and I call it motherfucking, I'll motherfuck you. I'll tell you like it is. Okay.
Exactly.
Hey, Adriana, you probably need to. No,
No, because everybody in my environment is like, you look good, girl. Like, wow. And poo, poo, poo. Yeah. And I like it. Don't get me wrong. I'll take it. It puffs up my chest a little bit. It helps me feel good. But I check in with you. That's you hold my feet to the fire. So I could have all these friends at the gym, and it's nice to have that sort of accountability, but you're a different accountability. You're like, how are you with the food? How's your workouts? Where's your routine? What are you doing?
Let me tell you this. Your off-season shape is another young lady or older lady's fucking dream body.
Phenomenal, right?
You're standing there going, holy shit, Mike, you got to pull me together. I'm fat as fuck. And somebody else is looking at you going, oh my God, I wish I looked like her. You know what I'm saying?
But I never say that to people. I only say that to you. because remember, we're always a moving target. And
That's right.
so I never want to create somebody else like, oh, I look fat or whatever. And somebody
Right.
else is looking at me like, oh, what's wrong with you?
Yeah, and that's a problem because,
Yes.
like I said, you're what you feel, uncomfortable with is somebody else would die to have your body.
Yes. Yes.
And that's understandable. And just like I always tell women about like off season, competitors especially. Trust me, your husbands and your boyfriends love your off season better. Okay, your husband's digging
They
it.
do.
Yeah, they're digging it thick. They don't even.
And
care.
you met my husband.
Yes, so they're all good with that. They're like,
Yeah.
what's this skinny shit over with? Because I'm ready for my babe to be back.
Yeah.
And I live with those. My wife, longtime pro, one of the best pros in the world over a 9-year period of time.
Yes.
And you know what? For Julie, it was always she kind of felt like she was competing 365 days a year because she was competing against all these beautiful women that I train who compete.
Yeah.
And Julie is we've been together for over 22 years. She's never been out of shape. And she's still at age 46, 3 kids, never out of shape. She always looks amazing to me, never misses workouts. Her dedication and her due diligence to herself and her health, it's more her health than anything right now.
Yes.
It's unparalleled. But you know what? And I can't keep up with it. I wish I could, but when I'm 14 hours a day in the gym, sometimes I'm just beat. Right now, my workouts, the pandemic.
They changed. Talk about it. I was going to say, and I've taken some classes from you during the pandemic too. Like I've done your abs and I've done your boot camp.
Yeah, the pandemic changed things for me in that, okay, I'm still doing them. Everybody's back to the gym, but I still come every night, 7:00. I think I go Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, off Friday, and then Saturday mornings.
Yes.
I do the 3 workouts, the legs, the back, and the shoulders and arms. I do those workouts on Zoom, just like I get down and dirty, just like all the clients that are still on there doing it. I'm in my garage right now in the summertime. There's been a couple of times it's like 92 degrees in there. You know me, I always dress like this. I always got sweat on. I still do that out there. 55 years old, I'm sweating and dying. Just as dirty as they are. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And I think that whole vibe is great. What I really hate this day and age with all the the social media and stuff, you get these perfect little girls that are out there and they're doing their little workouts and they got their little workout outfit on and they look great in their staged environment and shit. Nobody has that shit at home.
Nobody does.
Everybody's in their basement. It's so funny to see everybody's homes and the shit in the background. Like
yes.
garages, people are in their basements, the lighting sucks, it's dark, and they're in there grinding. And I'm in there doing it with them. That's the only way I would have it. I love it. I think it's hilarious. But I tell you what, it has rejuvenated me as far as working out goes. I feel good at 55 with my MS and everything like that. I feel great.
Yes.
So
but that's also what I love about you too, is like you're super humble and you don't care. Like it doesn't matter. And I can meet you anywhere you're at and you're fine with it. Like, and likewise, because I'm not there for the looks. I'm there to get better. Like wherever I'm at, rather I'm competing or not. I mean, as you know, I still check in with you.
I treat everybody the same. And and even in my training style, you talk about styles and stuff. Mine's an athletic style of training. And I'm gonna train soccer mom like I train this world-class athlete. Maybe not at the same intensity level, but it's not that I'm not gonna have her inspired to be able to do these types of things because I know what's best for her health and her body and her longevity. If you get certain clients, you got to just preach them. Listen, this is about quality of life.
Yes.
And I always tell people like yourself, okay, you're a mom, or, more of a recent mom. It's like, listen, you want to grow up with your kids, you want to grow old with them. Yes. I'd rather see you grow up with them and still have the energy to play with them. I mean, Julie and I have 3 kids. I have 6 kids. Yes. They start at 25 and they go all the way down to 6. So
just a year older than Sophia.
But you know what? Julie and I, it keeps us young. I mean, yeah. Have things changed since the first time raising the other ones? Yes.
Oh, yeah.
It's a lot different. Do I show up to PTA and think, who brought their grandpa? I feel like that sometimes. I'm looking at some of these parents and I'm thinking to myself, what in the hell is going on? Because it's changed a lot. And some of these kids are running their fucking parents. And I'm just like, oh my God, you guys. I know, especially like in sports, I know people look at me with my 2 youngest boys and, they're good football players and soccer players and stuff. But Julie and I are tough on them. And we make them, you're going to hydrate, you're going to eat right, you're going to get rest, you're going to do this. You're not just a clown. We take it seriously, and we try to instill that in them now when they're 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old. Our daughter's a gymnast, and we're already right now we're trying to figure out whether she's going to homeschool, half homeschool, or just at what level is she? Because I mean, she's showing signs of having a lot of potential and being really good. And my thing with her every day, and I tell Julie this, is like, listen, does she love it? Is she having fun? And every day she comes back from a 4-hour practice, so like, how was gymnastics? Good. Did you have fun? Yes. As long as it's yes, that's cool.
Yes.
As soon as she's like, Daddy, I don't want to go. Uh-oh. Red flag.
And and you'll adjust. I think that's a good parent. That's like a good, you're not over parenting. That's what you're really talking about.
To involve your kids in this lifestyle, you're doing them such, a justice. You're definitely helping them out.
Yes.
In this day and age with all these kids sitting around, Adriana, and just playing video games, and
oh my gosh,
parents appeasing them all the time with food and all that. We have planned meals every week. They get pizza night, and on Saturdays they get something out of the ordinary, whether it's Chipotle, or we have a place, Alexander, some deli they like to go to, just stuff that, but it's planned. Everything else are pretty much structured meals that are going to be healthy and nutritious and stuff like that. The snack cabinet here is full of healthy snacks. It's not full of a bunch of bullshit. Yes, are there potato chips or pretzels and stuff like that? Yeah, but they're the little 100 serving. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they're single serving.
You don't take the bag and go sit down in front of the TV and play video games.
Oh, hell no.
Chow down on potato chips here.
But see, that's the difference. Yes, that's the difference. Everybody's handling it, differently. And just being able to see that, like, no, we're going to eat this way. But they're growing up in a whole different environment with you. Like Sophia's growing up in a different environment. She doesn't know any better. Like she's just going to know that's what we work out. Yeah, that's what we do.
With the meals and the stuff here, it's like accountability. Hey, did you drink your rehydrate? Hey, do you have your water? Hey, we're on them. Because we want those habits to just carry on throughout their entire life.
Exactly. So, yeah. And that's going to be the difference between like the way I grew up or the way you grew up. How did you grow up? I've talked about like my childhood and where were your parents fit? Were your
no, my whole family still to this day unfit. My parents are deceased early, mind you. They both were deceased in their 70s. They both had diabetes after my age, 55. My mom was a cancer survivor for 16 years. She had 7 different cancers in 16 years. Woman of God right there. I mean, she was so blessed. Yeah. And toward the end there, I used to pray every day for her to go because her quality of life was just terrible. And to go up there and spend time with her and sit with her, it was literally more than I could bear. And I was extremely close with my mom, but that came from humble beginnings. I grew up in a place called the Bottoms. That means it was the bottom of the barrel. And why they call it the Bottoms is because here in Columbus, there's a huge hill that starts on the west side and that comes down in the place called the Hilltop. And then when you get to the very bottom, you're right there in downtown. Now, I don't know if have you ever come to the Arnold?
I haven't.
Okay. Well, the Arnold used to take place at a place called Betts Memorial, which is right down in my neighborhood. The whole neighborhood is, I would say it was a white ghetto. It's a white ghetto. And it was, I have a brother, an older brother and a younger sister. And my parents, we lived in a 2-bedroom home that was probably maybe 800 square foot. You literally walked in and you had a small little room that was like 5 foot by 7 foot, which would be somebody's foyer.
Yes.
Today it was off to the side, and then it walked through a thing where there was a kitchen. It was just a kitchen, and there was no hallway, and there was a room on each side, and then a bathroom connected to it. So very small. I lived there for the first 17 years of my life. I moved down at 17, got an apartment above a carry out right down there in my same neighborhood. And I was still a senior in high school. My dad was a Vietnam vet. So from the time I was 4 until I was 8, I really didn't see my dad. And then when he came home, he wasn't my dad. He was
tired.
It took a long time to get through all of that Vietnam type shit. But I will say this, my parents were married for 56 years before they passed. And they, it was one of those things, they were together for 56 years. My mom passed away first. Oh, amateur night.
Beefcake. What happened? I thought you turned that off.
Amateur night. My mom passed away first, and my dad passed away 3 months to the day.
Oh, wow.
We all knew he would go quick. So that was just one of those things. So even though we didn't have much, we were broke as a joke. I had the love of my parents. I did. My mom was the glue. My mom was kind of like the glue for the whole neighborhood. And when she passed away, so many people came to her funeral, Adriana, that they had to keep the funeral home open for a couple extra hours to get all the people through, which was definitely a testament to the way she lived her life. And I've said this on my own podcast. You know, my mom was the most ordinary person, but she had an extraordinary life. You know, I got into this when I was 12 years old.
Oh, really?
I wrote an ebook back in the day. I don't know how long. It's probably around 2002, maybe 2004. I called it Going Pro, the Fitness Factory Way, because at that time, I was turning girls pro like crazy. You know, that's how I built my reputation, the fitness thing. I mean, I had that going on. And so I kind of just spelled out in an ebook how I did it. You know, this is the path. And I wasn't giving away my tricks or, you know, my style or nothing, but I was saying, these are the shows you go to. This is where you be, you know, and it was back, you know, I had the Emerald Cup in there for sure. It was one of the premier shows in all the country. I mean, how many people have gone through and won the overall in fitness, figure, bikini, or whatever at the Emerald Cup and turned pro that same year?
Yeah.
A lot.
Every girl, and especially in 2002.
Back in those days. Yep. Every girl I've ever taken out there who won the overall turned pro. Every one of them. You know, because, you know, I had all those girls out there too. Remember, I had Sandy Grant.
Yes. Well, that's how I met you.
I had Rosa. All those girls came through.
Rose.
Rose.
Yes.
I always call her Rosa, don't I? Tangi Johnson.
Looks like a Rosa.
You know, Tangi Johnson was one of my national champions from out there.
Yes.
So it was just one of those things that this has been my passion since I was 12. We had a little detached garage away from our home. It's more like a shed. And there was a car axle in there. And I can remember going in there when I was like 12 years old, 6th grade, and picking that thing up and pressing it over my head.
I could see you doing that.
I don't know why, Adriana, but man, I just fell in love with that shit. So I would make up my own, like I had no weights. I had no money for weights. But I had a paper route. So I got up, like when I was 10 years old, my son's age, one of my sons now, I had a paper out of 154 papers. They had a morning paper here. I would put 75 in a bag and I would get on my bike and I would deliver, you know, 75 papers, come back and do it again and deliver the papers and then come home and eat and go to school. I was in the hood at 4 a.m. I'm doing this. I'm like, I looked at my parents like 10 years later. What the fuck were you thinking?
Did you let me do that?
I would let my kid out in my neighborhood now doing that.
Exactly.
So, you know, but you know, the money I would get from the paper round stuff, I would run down and get Muscle Mag. That was the magazine. It was just Muscle Mag. It wasn't, you know, Muscle Magazine. It was just Muscle Mag. And Columbus, Ohio, people don't know it very well. You know, I lived downtown, grew up down here. We've hosted the Mr. Olympia contest several times. And of course, the Arnold's here. So bodybuilding was a thing in Columbus, Ohio. It wasn't only Venice Beach, everything old Venice Beach. Arnold Schwarzenegger got his start in Columbus, Ohio. Wow. In 1976, we had the Mr. Olympia here. He had won. But he was good friends with Jim Lorimer, who is or was longtime president of the Classic Productions, which runs the Arnold Classic. I've been around Arnold for the last 30 years. Oh, wow. He's been here in Columbus. He's my partner in my gym is Bob Lorimer. It's Jim Lorimer's son. We own Metro Fitness together here in Columbus, Ohio. Arnold's been in our gym numerous times. He's worked out in our gym. And when he comes to our gym, you know what? People leave him alone. Yeah. It's like, oh, is that Arnold? Yeah, it's Arnold. Leave him the fuck alone. And they leave him alone. You know, he comes and his bodyguards are, especially when he was the governor, it was a lot different. So I've kind of got to see him evolve over the last 30 years. Yeah. He's really funny and stuff when you are just around him and no one else is around.
Yes.
He's gotten more and more, you know, kind of eccentric and, you know, a little bit more hard to deal with, just like any person who gets old. I mean, people still see Arnold.
Crotchety.
All they see is the image of Arnold back in the day, Terminator and the movies and all that. Well, hell, he's 70. I think he's 73 now. So, you know, he's an angry old man at times. So, you know, dealing with him now and, you know, dealing with him, you know, 20 years ago or 30 years ago is a lot different.
It's just so different. But like that kind of tells you exactly like how you evolve, right? I mean, as you in 12 years old, kind of the paper route and then really working hard. Like I can see you doing that and That's why it's old school. It's like so true.
Right.
It works.
It's pure. And in this book that I'm writing, I say, I mean, I tell the story about how I learned that, you know what, by looking different and it helped me athletically. I mean, I was always, don't take this wrong, but shit, man, growing up, I was the man. When it came to sports, I was the best football player, the best basketball player, the best baseball player. All the hoods, we called them hoods back then. All the guys that smoked dope and did drugs and shit would come to the games to see me play. You know, they were my friends. They all gave me respect but I was the one guy that was going to get the hell out of there on a scholarship or something, and I did. And I attribute that all to weightlifting, because when I grew up, listen, if you look tough, you got in less trouble.
Yes.
So I walked around looking the part. You know what I'm saying? And it kept me out of a lot of. I got in a lot of fights and stuff, but it probably kept me out of a lot too. People would think twice because I looked the part. Because from the time I was in 6th grade until I graduated from high school, man, I was working out. Right. I had an edge to me. I had an edge, and I never forgot that. And when I went to college, they didn't have a exercise physiology back then. This is no, hell no. All they had was athletic training. So I was going to learn how to tape ankles and ice elbows and shit. I'm like, what the heck is this?
But look at the difference now.
Isn't I know now everything's specialized.
So, down to coaching. Coaching is now offered at the university.
Yeah. So here I am. I've basically developed my own major, although it's not an accredited major from the school I run, but I took 140 credit hours in what would be considered now exercise physiology. I mean, I took A&P, I took kinesiology, I took macrobiology 1 and 2. I took 3 different quarters of nutrition. I took every health and phys ed class they offered. I took sexual maturity class, which is really taught me a lot about women. I mean, I learned a lot about the females. Yeah. And I kind of specialized in females for the longest time. A lot of people think I only deal with females. I don't. I'm just selective about the guys I deal with.
Exactly.
Because I don't want to deal with a bunch of guys that all they want to do is take 3 grams of steroids a week and not work hard.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I hold guys accountable like a mother, because guys, it's always I don't want to say it's an ego thing, but I'm at the age now where it's not that for them anymore, because I'm not competitive anymore. I don't compete against them or whatever. But there was a time where I was competing and training a bunch of guys to compete. So there was always kind of that competitive edge. And there was always, I think, in the back of their mind, is he telling me everything? Is he doing his best for me? Right. Because there was times there's
some doubt there just because of the insecurities.
Yeah, I had that too when Julie got so big in fitness. You know, I'm training, honestly, there was a period of time where I literally was training 7 of the top 10 girls in the world. Like, I owned the Olympia one year. I had 1 through 6. Wow. I think I owned the Arnold maybe twice, where I had 1 through 6. And there's some of those other years, there was only 1 girl that would get in there. I would have like Adela win, Jenny get second, you know, Tracy Green win, or Julie, or one of those girls would be 3rd or 4th. And then I would have a Stacy Hilton or somebody like that, 5th or 6th, and maybe Tangi made it in there or whatever. So for a long time, I mean, we just dominated the fitness realm.
And I think too, that's probably why you've been working more, like you specialize with women, because women work more in collaboration and relation, right? And men work on competing. And sometimes it's good, and sometimes you see the negative part of that. It's competition, right? So, and they find their strength, their security in strength, and not necessarily in collaboration. And so that's.
I kind of always had fear factor sometimes with the girls, because I'm older. I'm 10 years older than Julie. So in my stable of girls were always, you know, nobody was ever my age. I was always a little bit older than everybody. So you kind of had that fear factor too, that father type figure.
Right.
You know, but you know what? When you take that role on, then you put up with a lot more shit than just what happens in the gym or on the stage or whatever. Then it's, you know, you're dealing. I mean, the times I had reached in my pocket, Adriana, and bought groceries, paid somebody's rent, you know, picked somebody up out of jail. You know, I mean, I've done a lot of shit. Yeah. Yeah, and it's still kind of that way, because, you know, even the young people today, you know, it's still, I mean, they still get themselves into trouble. And
exactly.
But circumstances. And you know what? If I'm going to be, if I'm going to say, you know, I'm here for you, then, you know what? It has to be beyond the gym, beyond the stage.
And I know that about you. That's I know you have a big heart. Sorry, there's a little lag, but I know that you have a big heart, because you're hard, but you also give. Like, more than just what the average trainer will be. Like you will pick up your cell phone and you will answer while we're on stage. Like, hey, what do you think? Or I can send you pictures right before, or hey, you need to like have more water, get more water, or let's try not watering down, or whatever it is. And we talk specifics about, competition, but like those are the things that we need to hear to have like more security. And that's what you provide. So not just, I know you have a big heart because that comes through in your training and that's what people need. But at the same time, it's also like finding the right people because sometimes people take advantage of you.
Oh,
And then
absolutely.
it's just like too much.
Adriana, when that happens, it's shame on me. I should know better.
Right. But it's so edgy. Like that's a tough line too. You don't really know until energetically you can feel it. Like
you want to see the good in people. And I generally try to do that. I mean, my mom has raised me to be that way. I always tell you, I give credit, my personality is credited to my mom and my work ethic to my dad, because my dad was a worker. If nothing else, he was a really good, although we didn't have anything we had, he worked hard for and he earned. You know what I'm saying? It taught me that lesson. He taught me how to work. Because he taught me how to work for sports too. I mean, I worked like a dog when I was a kid for sports. And I try to instill that in my kids now too. My older boys, they got it because they worked their asses off, and they were, they were kind of undersized kids, but they were like all-state athletes in football. And one of them was a high school All-American in football. They just,
and we should tell people that you also coach kids too.
Like, oh yeah. You do. I had a stable of kids. I tell people this all the time. I still train kids. When they get to that puberty level, that 12, 13, 14, they can start serious in the gym. I had a stable of kids at one time where there was 9 of them. 7 of them signed D1 scholarships. One of them played professional hockey, and then one chose not to go to school. But out of those kids, I think every one of them was an all-state athlete in their sport. I mean, it's just unbelievable. And it's testament to their hard work first and foremost, because all they ever did was what I asked of them. But I felt great for all those parents, because you know what that saved those parents? For a kid to get a scholarship today to a Division I school is worth anywhere from $180,000 to $240,000.
Exactly. And it's worth it.
In Michigan, it's $80,000 a year. Yeah, and I've got 2 kids or 3 kids right now who go there on full ride.
See?
Think about that money. $320,000 saved for a parent to get a top flight education.
And people ask that too, like, well, that's expensive, or you're going to fork over that money. Either you're going to do it now or later on. So isn't it worth the investment to get the right education, to do the right things?
Right. I tell people that right now, because I hate to say this, and I'm embarrassed to say it, because I tell people this all the time when they come and they speak to me. I say, listen, the difference between me and a lot of these other people out here is that that's their job. This is my profession. This is all I do. This isn't my side hustle. This isn't my second job. This is what I do 24/7, 365 days a year, and at all levels, from soccer mom to young girl who's just trying to get herself healthy, to overweight client who's trying to get in shape, to the highest level of sports. I've had NBA guys, NFL guys, Olympic athletes. So it's always been my passion, but it's my profession. And there's a big difference when you have somebody who it's their profession.
Right.
How many people I get as clients because their other coaches drop the ball? Well, I don't hear from my other coach, and I was 4 weeks out and they said they didn't have time. And that's just because you got tricked. Because all these people put all this shit on social media, like, they're special or they do this. And just because you have 6-pack abs and, you got a good body yourself doesn't mean you can teach somebody, coach somebody, or have the knowledge to get somebody to the same level.
Or have the commitment.
Think about your clientele. I'm going to guess that most of your clientele are health and wellness people who have limited knowledge of nutrition, training, cardiovascular health. They rely on you solely for that. And they put their faith and their trust in you. And I guarantee you, you're in business, and you've been in business now for a good long time because you're good at it.
Gosh, yeah.
But to be good about it, to be good at it, you have to make it your profession, and you got to give a fuck.
You do. And you have to keep pushing yourself and growing yourself. Like that's when they talk to me about how hard their food is. Oh yeah, I understand. Oh yeah, how hard the workout is. Oh yeah, I understand. And how hard it is to compete in front of everybody, and like the butterflies in your stomach and the showmanship and the professionalism. Yeah.
The last time I competed, I never told anybody I was going to compete. Julie knew. I was getting 25 or 26 people ready for the Pittsburgh. The Pittsburgh over here is like the Emerald Cup over there. It's the biggest regional competition in our area of the country. I had opposing the last Wednesday before, show Saturday. On Wednesday night, I had everybody come in, whoever was going to do the show. They all show up. I call the bodybuilders up. They all get up there and they start posing. I take them through 1 or 2 times. I stand up, peel my sweats off, and they're all like, I'm competing this weekend. And they were all like, huh? So, well, while you guys were all bitching, complaining, and moaning, and I was busting my ass to get you all ready for the show, I got myself ready too. So you all know that I can practice what I preach.
Exactly.
And I actually went head to head with a couple of my guys that day. And it was fantastic. But I tell you, and I was, and people are like, well, what are you going to do if Kerry beats you? I'm like, I'm going to shake his hand because he knows I didn't hold nothing back.
Exactly.
And the guy was a really good bodybuilder. He was a state champion here. He was top 5 Masters Nationals and stuff. But I got out there on stage, and it was so funny because, the first time I struck, there was like 14 or 15 of us, and they called 3 of us up. It was me, it was Kerry, of course, and one other guy who I knew really well. His name was Steve, and we got up there, and we went around to the poses once. They switched us, put me in the middle, and as soon as they put me in the middle, I hit that first pose, and I turned my head over to my buddy Kerry, and I said, I didn't teach you everything. No! And then I went forward, and I just schooled him posing, because posing was always my thing. So I schooled him on posing, and at the end, it was so funny because when we got done, we walked off stage, and Kerry's wife comes running up to me, and she said, "You just got schooled." So
personality there.
Yeah, I just kind of, I didn't teach him everything. He's only been competing for a couple, 3 years. I mean, he was a really good competitor. He ended up being a really good competitor.
But there's some things that you really can't teach, and that's also personality. And so you don't have to say you didn't teach him. You could just say that you were comfortable, and there's a difference between comfortable and why you're competing. And then the reasons come out, like you go and show your stuff, and that's what you've been working for.
I ended up winning that day, and a lot of people beat me, and that's what the difference was, because I knew Kerry had a great body. Steve, right beside me, I had competed against him before, and I'd beaten him sometimes. He had beaten me a couple times. It was just one of those things where I sat there and watched the judges watching me because my posing was superior to theirs. I was entertaining. I knew what I was doing, and I could back it up with my physique. So that's just one of those things, and it was great that they all got a newfound perspective. Like, okay, I can walk the walk, and I can talk the talk, and I earned a lot of respect by just jumping up there. They knew I competed. I competed anyway, but I never went up against any of them. I never got ready when they were all getting ready. So it kind of, and when you go through your process, and your clients watch you change, and they're watching you grind, and they're watching you struggle at times.
Yes.
It has to inspire them, because
it does.
That whole lady thing, it's about that inspiration.
Yes.
When you lead by example, it's hard for somebody to just say, I don't want to do it. Why? I'm doing it.
Yes.
I never asked anybody ever to do something I wasn't willing to do.
Right.
I will still drop down and show somebody an exercise today. And when I do it, like I have all these D1 athletes and stuff, and I can still do stuff better than they can.
Yes.
And those dudes are dumbfounded. I'm like, don't be dumbfounded. I said, this is what I've been doing for 35 years.
Just practice it. So, and that's practicing it too over the years.
I said, I am trained and conditioned to move like this, and I'm still 55, and I can still do a lot of the explosive things that I teach them. And it immediately garners their respect, So I don't ask them to do anything I'm not willing to do myself or can't do.
Right. And then they know you're serious. Like they know how serious you are, and you eliminate those excuses. That's a big one for me. Like I'm a mom. Yeah, I'm a mom. Yep, I got a job too.
I get it.
Yeah, I get it. I understand. Yeah, the food's hard. The food prepping and going to work. Oh yeah. Like they don't have any excuses. I mean, that's what I think about too. When I compete, it's more against myself. I mean, a lot of it's hard to peel that layer off, but I was heavy at one time. Like I've already experienced being unhealthy. I'm going to do whatever I do in a healthy way. Like however I got to do it.
And it goes back to you're a mom. So you got somebody else that, their lifestyle, it's their lifestyle. And, our kids aren't afraid. Our kids eat salmon. Our kids eat fish. Our kids eat, vegetables and stuff, because, you either eat or you go hungry. whatever. You know? I mean,
Yes.
Julie's a savage when it comes to certain things. Like, oh, you know
I
what?
believe it. Julie Palmer, if anybody wants to look her up, they can look her up and they can see. Yes. And she makes food really delicious too. Like she has great recipes as well.
Yeah,
So it's not like, yes, that's why I was like, just
her cookbook is Food to Be Fit, and you can still get it on Julie Palmer at juliepalmer.com, or I think it's still on the Fitness Factory. It's you download it, and what it is, it's family meals.
Yes.
How she developed it is all these campers used to come to my home, and I'm doing that again, by the way.
Oh, good.
I only do it about every 4 to 6 weeks. I'll load up and have a big camp, and I usually have anywhere from 8. I've had from 8 to 14.
I'm gonna come.
I can sleep. Yeah, you know what you should do? You should
video
it, or you should go and interview the girls and stuff like that, and put it as part of your podcast or something, because it would be great for you.
I will. It's so much fun, and I mean, even my clients. I remember a couple of them showed up to the camp here in Bellevue, and they were like, I can't do what you do. And I said, you see that girl? And I remember she was one of the heavier, I can't remember her name. And you were like, hey, she showed up. Listen, you showed up, period. You're doing this shit just like anybody else. Don't let that affect you. Don't let that. Yeah. And I love that, because I told her, I was like, you see her? There you go. There's no excuses. Yeah, it's intense, but at the same time, how do you want to push yourself?
Yeah, I'm so blessed to have had all the different types of people come here and share our home, or me go to them and share their gyms at these camps. I mean, honest to God truth, every shape, size, color, demographic, race, everything. I'm so blessed to be involved with all those people. Yes. And so, like in Society Day, with all this craziness and everybody trying to have all this division and stuff, I'm like, I'm so blessed because I get along with people, and we're all one race, the human race. And I've been so blessed to be around so many people, so many people, and I tell people all the time, listen, I'm not for everybody. I get it. And I don't get offended.
I've sent some people to you too. Like, that's,
can't take it.
They're like, that meal's hardcore. And I'm just like, well, you wanted to do what I do. That's what we do.
I'll tell you this. I'll tell you a little secret, insider secret. If I smell blood and I think that they're not going to be able to take it, I'm going to test them right off the bat. Okay. I'm going in no Vaseline, because they all want it, Adriana, until they see exactly what it takes. And listen, it's okay. Like I said, my way's not for everybody. And I'll tell them right off the bat, my way's the hard way, because I'm not going to push chemicals or drugs on you. You're females. The state of competition today and the amount of PEDs and stuff that these women takes is irreprehensible. It's irresponsible of the coaches, and it's just an easy way out. And it just shows you that these people have a total lack of knowledge for training and nutrition. Because I've put so many people on an Olympia stage, on an Arnold stage, or on a pro stage who never had to take anything.
Right.
Okay. Hard work, dedication, the right foods, the right cardiovascular training, and the right weight training, period. I'm so disgusted by how, when you first started this industry and started competing, for somebody to say that they were taking PEDs was like, oh my God, it was a dirty little secret. Now, if you're not the one taking PEDs, people are like, what do you mean you're not taking anything? I mean, you're like an outcast. I'm just like, so that just goes to show you where a lot of these Insta coaches and these guys are frauds.
Right.
And I'm just, there's a lot of them have great knowledge and stuff, but there's some of them just straight frauds.
But
I've got so many people who come to me that are just broken and they're just fucked up. And I'm just like, why would you ever do this? Well, my coach told me to. Well, didn't you research it for yourself? I mean, you got a brain, don't you? It's on you. If somebody comes to you and asks you to do something, and you know nothing about it, and you blindly just say, okay, I'm going to do that. If somebody wants to question what I'm doing, say, Mike, why do you have me eating this? I'm telling them. I have a whole section in my MDFU, Mike Davies Fitness Universe app. Okay. It's called the why.
Yes.
Basically, I took 1 month. I took everything that I do on a consistent basis. Like, why do you use this food, or why do you use this supplement, or why do you, and I tell you why, because you deserve to know.
Exactly.
I mean, it's a blind faith thing when you hire a coach. I have faith you're doing what I ask you to do. You're 2,000 miles away from me, Adriana. And
Mm-hmm.
you and I have always had a good relationship. And I can only think one time where you got on stage where you weren't where I wanted you to be.
Yes.
Might have been one time. Maybe your weight was 2 or 3 pounds, or we struggled to get ready that year, something happened or whatever.
Yes.
No excuses.
Right.
Other than that, you've been a model client. You've always been in shape, and you've always done well. There's a reason for it.
Yeah.
It's your approach.
But that's because I also have you. Like I think I'm healthy. I do it, whatever it is. I'm a trainer, but I go to you because I don't want to think about it. I just want to be told what to do and held accountable. It's so refreshing.
And your clients are the same.
Yeah, and we're moving targets as competitors. We're a moving target. You think you're somewhere else, and you're like, what? You look at my pictures, like, there you go. This is what it is. All right, you're on it. All right, what'd you do different? Like, what's going on? But I need that outside perspective because I have all these like vast experiences, or you're not eating enough, all these things in my head. I need somebody outside of my head that's looking at me with a good perspective and telling me like that I have faith in.
Yeah. The people who love and care about you the most are the ones that sabotage you the most.
Yeah. Well, it's because you're redirecting.
Like, why can't you eat? Why can't you eat?
Oh, yeah.
What do you mean you're not eating? You look thin. Are you sick?
Yeah.
You know what? Somebody would come to me and say, dude, are you okay? You look sick. So I'd be like, yes, I'm there. I look good. I knew I looked good then.
But see, that's why I don't, you know, I have like all my friends, which is like Nicole Sims and, you know, like I remember doing a boot camp with you, and we were bouncing off the Bosu and fucking walking down lunges down, and we like do pull down while we're there and then walking lunges back, and we're sweating and dying, and Nicole comes to me, she turns around and she's like, and people want our asses, right? You got to do the work. It takes a lot. And so to the regular person, like that's great. You're in shape. Oh yeah, that's fantastic. And to our like, you know, our soul friends, oh yeah, we're doing good. We work out together. But then it takes a trainer to hold your feet to the fire and actually give you a grade on like, how's the food specifically, what is going on? And I got that. Like, let's try this. I remember asking you the question, like, why do we do rice cakes? And you're like, because it pulls the fucking water. And I'm like, oh, you can learn anything at any time. I've been competing for 5 years.
Yeah. You know, Nicole Sims, a classic example. The first time I met her was at camp.
Yeah.
And then she started working with me after that. A year later, she was a national champion.
Exactly. I had her on the podcast for motivation.
Yep, drug-free, beautiful. Mm-hmm. She's still beautiful. I still follow her in wellnesses. You know, one thing I'm really, really, really proud of, and I don't give it enough credit to all of you, is that my family tree in this industry is huge. Mm-hmm. I've had so many people that I've worked with that have now started their own businesses, like yourself, like, you know, like her. She's a wellness coach or whatever she's doing now. But, you know, Michelle and a lot of the people out there, Shannon had a business for a long time.
Sandy Grant.
Sandy, I mean, some of you have all taken a little bit of me with you and taken it on and, you know, made it your own thing, are making a great living of it and being inspirational and just, you know, it's just it's a legacy. It's a long tree. It's a long legacy.
It is.
And it makes me really, really proud. You know, some people say, doesn't that make you mad? I'm like, well, why?
Why? Yeah.
Because you know what? Those people still hold me as their coach. I'm still their coach in a lot of ways. When they need something, I'm here for them. And I never turn away anybody who's like, no, I don't get that way. I don't get butthurt and competitive and jealous in this industry. Because for all these years, I'll just worry about me and my clients and the people that are paying me to do the job for them. I do everything I can for every one of them. I don't care. You know, one of the things I used to do, like all these professional athletes, people used to gouge those dudes. You know what I charged them? The same amount I charged anybody else.
Everybody else. Yes.
You know, and those dudes, they couldn't believe it. They respected it and they loved it. And I'm just like, listen, why would I charge you? It's the same job. I'm not charging you anymore because you're a multimillionaire. You know, I'm not. But you know what? A lot of those guys every offseason would come back and spend their whole offseason with me and pay me every day to train them and trust me with their careers, you know, and the longevity of their careers. And I had it going on there for a long time with I had the same like 5 or 6 NBA guys that came back to me every offseason.
Right.
And spend, 5 months with me and then go off and, play and stuff like that. And I loved it.
It's because we trust you, and you're not just our trainer. You're also our mentor in so many ways. Like I talk about it in an earlier podcast, but it's called rites of passage. Like you
Yeah.
have to go through rites of passage. You have to do the work yourself. You have to go through those stages, going from single to having a baby, to getting married, to having a baby, to becoming instant parents, to becoming empty nesters. Like there's so many rites of passage. You
Yep.
can't skip one. You don't get to reap the benefits if you don't do the work. And I
Right.
think that's what's missing in nowadays and in the social media and all these things. It's like, what are your rites of passage? You did a show and now you want to go and train somebody like a
You're a
professional. Now you're now you're the person to go to. It amazes me.
Adriana, I've had a lot of that. I've had people that I've gotten ready for shows and they've gone out and done well, and then all of a sudden, they distance themselves from me and then they become a coach themselves. And I'm just shaking to myself. I'm like, I know it's going to fail because number one, they don't have the education behind it. They don't have experience behind it. Okay. The only thing they can provide is that you got yourself in shape for a show. Right. That is the extent of your experience. And you did that through my knowledge and your hard work. I never discredit somebody for their hard work, but that shit is what's wrong with this industry anymore. It's just like anybody and everybody is a coach. And I'm just like, I wouldn't pay that person $7 to do anything for me. I wouldn't trust them. And when you got somebody who charges you $900 a month or whatever, you know they don't have clients. Yeah. They have to charge you that much. They do because
it's so true.
It's their hustle, and it's not because they're good. They have to. Adriana, I haven't changed my prices in years and years. I'm $75 for the first diet, $35 to update. I've been that way since you started with me. It's never been any more. Yes. I would rather have you here for 10 years than have you here for 10 months or 10 weeks going into a show.
Right. And it's always, that's what I love about the consistency with you. It's that it doesn't change. It's always the same. Like you're going to hold my feet, rather you're like, I'm here. I remember you asked me this last competition in 19, I took fourth and you said, were you happy with that? And I said, yeah, I worked hard. And some of these kids are like 19.
I know that's true. Because I've brought girls out there just to get them on stage against Tangie's girls and some of the girls.
Yes.
That's still a pretty good hotbed. And how old were you at 19?
Oh my gosh. So just 3 years ago, 41. Isn't that crazy? Yeah, I'm older. You always thought I was like 25. I was like, beefcakes, I'm like 30. Come on.
Look at you.
Yeah.
You got that skin. You got that olive skin.
Yeah. And I work out and I work hard. And even on season, I remember I text you pictures or whatever. I'm doing a race. I'm doing Ragnar or I'm doing STP. It's like, it's my lifestyle. It's not just changing for that it's not just changing for that specific show. It's changing your lifestyle so that even when you're done with the show, you don't ricochet 30 pounds and you're trying to work that off again. Like, I'm sorry, I'm done with that. Yeah. I just want people to be healthy.
The successful people who actually compete are the ones that it is their lifestyle. But there's so many, come on. In this day and age with Generation Z and the millennials and stuff, I mean, why are you doing a show? Oh, I'm trying to build my brand. Mm-hmm. Your brand. What the fuck is your brand? Oh, your Instagram? Oh, you got a brand? Because you get pimped to pimp like fucking protein powder and aminos on your Instagram. That's your brand? No, that's not a brand, okay? That's your little trying to be a hustle and try to be Insta famous or whatever. How's that working out?
Exactly. And longevity. Like I remember you telling me like good 10 pounds over your weight is good. Stay within that range.
7 to 12.
Like you always told me that, like always hang in there. Always, I don't want to have to train. I don't want to have to like do this extreme dieting before you go. And I had to have somebody tell me that. Cause again, like I just didn't know the ins and outs. But once you said that, I remember I was like, oh yeah. Like I do want to do that. Like that's.
Adriana, you're what? 5 foot?
Mm-hmm. 5'1". Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So 12 pounds on you is 20 pounds on somebody who's 5'6". It just you carry it different. It looks different, and you don't feel good about it mentally.
Exactly.
I want you to be. This is a mental game. You got to be healthy mentally as well. Mm-hmm. That's another thing you have to hold people to the fire on. Like, I got some people that get a little nutty now. Let's stop. Whether it's obsessive and they're overtraining, I get more overtrainers than I do undertrainers. I do, because they have that hard work in them. And then once they get in that shape, they're just like, they don't know when to back down. And you gotta do the same thing. You gotta reel them back in and say, listen, come on, you're going nagging injuries, you know, fasciitis and stuff like that starts popping up, and
stress fractures and
you know, all of a sudden your hair's unhealthy. The first thing I look at is hair. When I can tell somebody's going down that path, their hair starts to go. Their skin, hydration. Oh my God, I can tell when somebody's dehydrated. People in America are chronically dehydrated all the time because they drink 3 20-ounce Starbucks a day and don't drink any water. And people all the time, why do you recommend 2 gallons of water? That's way too much. Not if you're doing what I asked you to do, it's not. Water's the source of life and energy in your body. It carries all nutrients and stuff through your body. 70% of your body's made of water. Why would you be pounding water? You know, but they just, but once you get somebody who's like totally like that, and they're the coffee, caffeine freaks and stuff, and you get them away from that and you get them on, they're like, oh my God, they feel so much better.
They sleep
better. I never knew that I could feel so much better. I never knew I could function without caffeine and stuff. Holy shit. Yeah, you can. How that happens. You know? That stuff is just, I make this comment all the time, especially when you have all these Insta coaches that are out there and they're plagiarizing people's shit. And they're putting all these long things on Instagram and it's all plagiarism. And I'm just reading, I'm going, oh my God. I can go to my Journal of American Medicine and get that same fucking article and, change a few words and call it my own. I would never do that. People try to make science out of soup. This is easy, Adriana. It truly is. All you need is somebody to listen. And you don't have to make science out of it. They don't, what I find this about women, especially, they don't give a shit about the science. They just want to know what's going to make their ass smaller or bigger. Some girls come to you and they're like, I want a big, fat, juicy ass. Okay, that's easy. And then, of course, some girls always want to be fit and toned and, have that lean, athletic, muscular look. But at the end of the day, it's about, what you put in your body, and what you're willing to output, and then all the things in between. Staying mentally healthy.
Yes. Staying
mentally healthy will keep you physically healthy.
Oh
when
my
you go
God.
down that rabbit hole, it's crazy. And it's really
even
hard
this
to get
year, especially this year.
Oh,
right?
Yeah. People.
Oh my gosh.
Anxiety and everything else. Yeah. With the pandemic and all that, and people locked down, and you guys have had it worse than us. Our state was pretty bad, but being out there where you are, Washington, Oregon, West Coast, Cali, oh my God, I would have moved.
Some people did.
We would have moved. We would have freaked out. Us,
right.
I never shut down, Adriana. My gym, we were closed to the public. It wasn't closed to Mike D, because I would get my ass up at 4 a.m., dark as hell. All my clients would come in. I'd see 55 people from 4 a.m. till 8. When the sun came up, poof, ghost town. We were all gone. But during the pandemic, hell no, I worked all the time.
It's true.
Nobody got corona. We just went. Why?
Well, because we were taking care of ourselves, because we were healthy.
I'm going to take away from what has made us able to battle something like that.
Exactly.
I wasn't shutting down for shit. I had all my athletes too. I had all these football players and from all these different colleges were coming in, and I had it going.
Right.
And then the Zoom thing.
That's how I got connected more so with you. It's like, you're still doing classes.
I don't want to say it's my ass, but Adriana, I'm not lying to you. I would have 60, sometimes 70 people.
I loved it. I was like, where are my people? Where's my oldies? But it's because it made me healthy and it made me strong. And overall, like, it gives me ideas and I grow and I don't become so rigid. Because a lot of people are either all or nothing. And, I don't have a gym. I can't work out. And I'm like, you don't have the floor? You can't do a push-up or a sit-up? Half the stuff you had us do don't require anything.
Nothing. No weights, no nothing. I tell people all the time, I could train you in a phone booth. No doubt. And that proved it to me, because that's what we were all in. We all had both a 6x3 space in our living rooms or our basements or wherever anybody could grab some space. That was a good time for reflection for me. Julie had been telling me for a long time, you should be filming these classes, or you should be doing. And then, I had the app, and it was a good opportunity for me to get a bunch of new people on the app and introduce them to the way I do things. And my app membership went up by a couple hundred, pretty quickly during that time. And those people have stuck because they love it.
Yeah. It's a good variety.
Yeah, it's a lot of information, and it's me.
Mhm.
Like, again, when I do things like that, I don't do anything staged. I don't go to
Right.
some studio and film workouts. No, you want to see something? This is my gym. This is how it's done. This is how we do it. It's rough, rugged, and raw. Just like that's my
That's
podcast.
your podcast.
That's what
Yes.
you're going to get. You're going to get it just because that's the reality of the situation.
Mhm.
Okay. You're sitting in a nice home gym at your home. We
Yes.
have the same thing. You go
Yeah.
5 feet from here and go through this door right here.
Yeah.
I've got better, as good of cardio equipment that I have in my gym, in my commercial gym. I've
Right.
got a dumbbell rack, a kettlebell rack, and stuff like it, but it's still a dark, dungy garage. It's still a garage. It's 92 degrees out there. And if I'm be working out or doing cardio, I'm doing it in that shit.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it
Hot
in some
yoga.
studio and like, oh, beach body. Oh, yeah. I'm not doing that shit because that's not what you're doing either.
Exactly.
You're at home, you're not doing it like that.
You know,
Again, you're in the living room. You got the
right.
dog running under your feet while you're trying to do it.
No, you see all the animals, all the
Yeah, you got a
kids. I'm
kid
surprised
coming up
Sophia
and going,
hasn't come in here.
carry me, hug me. I just shit myself. That's the reality of the situation,
And then it's just life. That's just life. I think that's a good thing. It was self-reflection. I did a build out between my house and my studio so that it was outdoors. You're right. Like, because it's not the same here anymore, like realistically. And so I was like, people want to work out. Let's do it outside. And I have a pergola so we can work out even when it's raining.
That's
Yeah.
good.
When it's cold and when it's hot. Because it was hot here just a while ago. I don't know if you saw, it was like 106.
Out there, we've had a little bit of that recently. Where we were 90.
Mhm.
Well,
Yeah, but that was so good. Yeah. And I just appreciate that. I mean, that's why like I stay with you, because I know that you are honest. You tell me the truth. You hold me accountable. I am coachable. I ask myself like, okay, what did I do?
That's a good point. You have to be coachable.
You have to be
People always
coachable.
ask me, what do you look for in a competitor? And when it comes to girls, I'd say soldiers.
Mhm.
People that you can hand something to them in black and white and they're going to do it.
Mhm.
And they're just going to do it. And
Right.
And for girls, to be honest with you, I like to train tomboys.
Mhm.
I'm not saying from a looks perspective, but like girls or somebody who had been in some type of team athletics or whatever,
Mhm.
who had a coach before, who understand teamwork, because we're a team. You and I are a team. I listen to you. You have a voice with me. If something's
Mhm.
not working for you, you tell me. It's up to
Right.
me to figure that out and say, okay, what can we do alternatively to make this go and still get the same result? So
Right.
you and I are a team when it comes to you, your health,
Mhm.
and you're competing.
Right.
It's like that with everybody. And I find that athletes or former athletes or whatever understand that a little bit better. And when it comes to the girls, you guys are a little tougher. So I
Mhm.
can motherfuck you a little bit, tell you like it is. I don't want to
Yes.
be like, Mike, do these jeans make me look fat? I'm like, no, your ass makes you look fat. And then you fucking fall apart and cry, and you know what I'm saying? I'm not down with that. You know how many times I see a girl out of the gym crying? A lot. You know what I always say to them? Well, I hope you don't stop like when we're 2 inches from the stage, but you're upset because, you didn't hear what you wanted to hear today. I mean, girls will walk in the gym and after a weekend, I'll look at them and be like, who did you eat? What the hell? What happened?
But see, that's what helps us, get normal. That's what helps us get healthy. It's like we have the idea. I always tell people like, oh, I have a meal plan. But then the best thing is I have a meal plan. I don't have to think about it. Like it's the easiest thing.
That's like, but I have a meal plan.
Yeah.
So, I don't have to think anymore. I'm just, I'm all right.
Yeah.
It's not a bad thing, especially if you've got a good relationship with your person.
Yes.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
But, I know you pretty well. I've got what I call them Trump diets. Like when I see something like in a 3-week period work really well for you, earmark that. She responds really well to that because you know what? If I need to go back to it, I can pull it out. Not the same diet, but the same conceptual.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, every third day, we do a high carb, low carb, no carb, or whatever. With you girls who do fitness, it's hard to because you got to train.
Mm-hmm.
With girls, it's just about their physique. Okay, a little less here, a little less there. But for you girls, it's
we gotta eat.
Yeah.
And I remember Rose told me that before I started training with you. She's like, look, you just got to start with them. Okay. Because I don't think I've ate so much and that I have,
It looks so good.
and looks so good because you feed the muscle and
Yeah,
it takes calories and we burn calories. And especially when we teach, when we do like
yeah,
boot camps and we work out ourselves, we also burn more calories.
yeah.
And but that's even that normal people too. It's like you forget that you have to feed the muscle. And if you want to keep the weight off, then you better get a little bit more muscle so it picks up your metabolism. Like it's
90,
not going to happen with the cardio.
nope, cardio queens are always skinny fat.
Right.
90% of the Joe Q publics that come to me
Mhm.
undereat and they wonder why they're fat.
Yeah.
And I tell
Yeah.
them all the time, you are starving yourself fat.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. You might
Mhm.
eat 2 meals a day, and I can guarantee you one thing, your body's an efficient machine. It's starving, so it's going to take, even if it's something healthy, and try to convert it to fat.
Right.
You are literally starving yourself fat. And then, okay, so you know me, I'm going to try to feed you, 4 or 5 meals plus a couple snacks. I mean, I'm trying to get you 6, 7, 8 times a day sometimes.
Yeah.
These people, you got to start off with maybe 4 or 5 times a day, small meals, try to get them going. And then they're like, oh my God, I can't eat all this. Well, once they start eating it, it's a week later, they're like, oh my God, I'm starving.
Yeah. Your metabolism picked up.
The machine is now turned on.
Yes.
Congratulations. The oven's now baking. We're about to, make some progress. And they'll be the ones that'll drop 7 to 12 to 15 pounds in that first 3 weeks. And then you got them hooked, and then they're believers. But one thing I always about you competitors is like when you stop losing or you stop, getting that look, I always put more food in. And like, oh my God, I'm not losing. You're putting more food in. Exactly. I'm not feeding you enough now. So our metabolism slowed down. I need to stimulate you again. Just do what I ask.
Yes.
And
but
99.9% of the time I'm right. It's
it,
just
you are.
it goes into it. You know what I'm saying?
But it's that mental thing. It's that, and it's the conscious, like the diet industry. I talk about the diet industry being like 70 billion, right? And then the nutrition and health industry is like 5 million, because it's the commercials, it's the social media and all these things that tell us, to eat less.
Yeah,
and so you have to break through that.
Let's talk about this. This is, and I don't know where you stand on this. You work with me, and I'm a nutrient coach. I'm all about the nutrients.
Mm-hmm.
These macro coaches,
Mm-hmm.
okay, macro dieting. Macro dieting works to lose weight. Okay, it truly does. Weight Watchers has been doing macro dieting for the last 58 years. I think Weight Watchers is almost 60 years old now. It's macro dieting. Okay. You get 60 grams of carbs. If you want to eat chocolate cake, take your card over, move it over here. You ate, 60 grams of carbs. You're done for the day. I don't see why people are I understand why people like it, because they can eat the foods they want.
Whatever they want.
Macros. But my point to any of the macro coaches is this: if you aren't going to tell them what to eat, 9 times out of 10, especially a young person, is just going to pick whatever they want, whatever tastes good. So a package of Pop-Tarts is 36 grams of carbohydrates, most of which is sugar. A serving of cream of rice is 37 grams of carbohydrates. Now, which one's better? Cream of rice.
Cream of rice.
So a protein is not just a protein, a carb not a carb, and a fat not a fat. There's 4 categories for fats, so it tells you which are different. Are you choosing the right ones? Are you eating a Reese's peanut butter cup, or are you eating some avocado?
Exactly.
Well,
I'm going to eat some avocado.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, I don't get it. And what I see happening with a lot of these girls, especially girls, not so much guys, but girls, is they lose weight and they look good, especially if they're young. They respond really well at first, okay? Because they've never even restricted their shit before. So now they're at least on some restriction. And their activities there, cardio or whatever. But what I find happens is that they choose all these wrong foods, and they choose a lot of alcohol, sugars, and all this stuff.
Yes.
It starts to fuck with their digestion. And I call it the macro pooch. They have this little soft lower, and all that is inflammation in their intestine. Because all of those alcohol, sugars, and stuff is all sitting in there. It's not digested. It's not breaking down. It's just sitting there and it's fermenting. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
They're malnourished. I say they're malnourished because their macro counts could be high. They're 160 grams of protein, 120 grams of carbs. But if you choose your 120 grams of carbs, 60 grams of it is you eating Starburst during your workout, and just what you're counting as carbohydrates, that's bullshit.
Right.
That's bullshit. Yes. I don't get it. And this is the health industry. Are you going to be healthy like that? And where I really see it is in their hair.
Yes.
I see a lot of girls. They'll come to my posing
lose their hair.
it'll be broken off and stuff, and stress fractures and stuff like that. Their feet, their lower backs and stuff. You see a lot of stress fractures and stuff, and those are signs of malnourishment. They truly are. And I don't think girls even, they look good, but they don't realize that they're malnourished, and that's only going to last a while before things seriously start going wrong.
Right.
You know,
and so, it's also like, I
have some really good friends and some guys I respect, and they're good coaches. They're macro coaches though. And but to the macro coach's defense, you don't have to choose those Pop-Tarts, motherfucker. You can choose a And I think the ones that excel with them do make better choices. I really do. I guarantee you that they do.
They do.
You know, but it's for the coaching. It's so easy to grab a college kid and stuff and say, you basically can eat whatever you want as long as you fit these numbers.
Right.
And they go about fitting those numbers, and then they wonder why they're still soft and they're still immature looking or whatever. And then you do get the formula together, okay, that you think is going to be right. And those people choose healthy foods, and they're going to eat fish, and they're going to eat eggs, and they're going to eat potatoes and rice and yams and, oats and cream of rice or whatever. They're going to excel under that macro tutelage because they are on restriction. The coach has a formula, based on what their output or whatever is. And it's going to work far more efficiently, and that person's going to be healthier, and he or she will probably be more successful. Right. But I would probably guess I would have to ask like a guy from BA Dillon or a guy here in Columbus. His name is Adam, good friend of mine, Adam Atkinson. They're both macro coaches. I would have to ask him, what's the percentage of girls that that eat healthy, clean foods? And if you're giving them something, if you say, hey, put some more fiber in their diet, that they don't just go get a fiber-rich tortilla. Instead, they use, actual vegetables or something. How many kids actually do that, and how well do they do? And is their health and longevity in this sport should be important. And that's where I get, I get salty a little bit with the macro type coaching. I'm not saying it doesn't work. Again, you want to lay out your formula and people want to choose good, healthy foods. They're going to do well. They're going to, they're going to lose, and they're going to look the part more so than somebody that's going to choose candy, ice cream, shit. Like people are like, why don't you put shrimp on my diet? Shrimp. I'm like, that's the cockroach of the sea. Okay. You have you have BB. BB is how you rank proteins. Okay. I want to give you the best proteins. Right. The number one protein in the world is an egg white. The incredible edible egg. Everything after that, the next 3 or 4 is fish. They just got to understand. You are what your fish eats too. Yes. So I put tilapia on diets because it's cheap, and macro wise, it's about the same as orange roughy. But you know as well as I do, when I get 3 weeks out from a show, it's orange roughy. Yeah. And it's orange roughy because it's from the sea. And the micronutrients that fish takes in is going to benefit you more so than anything tilapia is going to be, because tilapia is eating shit pellets. Sorry, it is.
It is. But it's like easy down. It's easy to flavor, and it's cheap. You're right. I mean, especially when people are competing and they can barely afford, tuna is like a big thing. And I love the way you would always provide all these options, like, hey, frozen to canned to, fresh to frozen. Like, I love that. And also you always changed my macros. I noticed that. Because I would plug my food into my Fitness Pal, and I was like, oh, he's, going a little bit more carbs, always going a little bit more fat, always going, I could tell what you were doing and why, because your body adjusts to it, right? Yeah, you can guarantee that, especially when you're on that cycle, it's every 3 weeks, because we want your body to constantly be stimulated as we go, and that's what I'm looking for. And there'll be times where, okay, your macronutrients might remain pretty much the same, but we're going to get it from different sources. So, okay, cream of rice and oatmeal are different GIs. The glycemic index of those two foods are different. The uptake, the digestion, all this stuff's different, especially when we're going into a show that week of. I'm all about digestion because it's timing. I laugh at people when they are backstage eating rice cakes and pounding all this shit right before they go on stage thinking it's going to help them. That's doing nothing but sitting in their gut. I tell my athletes right now, I just had a guy yesterday finish. I thought he should have won, but he got second in the super heavyweights at the Masters Nationals. And we ate 1, 2, maybe 3 meals. He didn't get on stage until almost 4 o'clock. And the last 3 hours, he did nothing but pick at figs and raisins. Yeah.
Big giant super heavyweight guy got on stage hard because the digestive, what was going to hit him when he got on stage is what we ate earlier that day. The digestion of food is optimal when it comes time for you to hit the stage. When I see people backstage just pounding food, I'm like, that's why you're going to look good later on at the night show.
Yes.
Like shit now, and they're going to be like, oh, it looks so much better at the night show. And they think it's because they went out and ate a burger in between. It's not that you ate that burger.
Yeah.
It's that you were pounding those carbs and you were eating all that shit right before you got on stage. It is finally digested and hit your system.
Yeah.
I would love for somebody to call and talk to me about that because I just sit there and I just continue to know what I know. And you know, I've had so many guys, especially I go backstage with them like, dude, should I be eating something? I'm like, fuck no. What? It's in your gut? No.
Just stick to your food. I love the way you would always say that. You'd be like, just stick to your food. What's your next meal? Take your next meal. Yeah, Let me see how you look. Okay, have a little bit more carbs. You know
what happens? All these coaches, they just do things because they think they have to. The whole thing now is, the night before, burger and fries. What? I haven't stuck a burger and fries in your body in 16 weeks, 12 weeks, or whatever it is. Why in the fuck would I do it? Get on stage. I will not do it. Because you don't know how you're going to respond or react to that. I mean, that thing could wreak havoc on your digestive system, bring inflammation to your lower intestine, all of a sudden you bloat. You don't know how you're going to respond to that. We know how you're going to respond to those 6 egg whites and have a cup of oats because you've been eating it for the last 3 weeks. We know how you're going to respond to that. Okay? Or if it's another food that we put in there, I know how you're going to respond to it because it's been part of our regimen throughout this whole process.
Right.
I'm not changing anything as far as foods go. I've had 12 Miss Olympias. Yes, I never hit not a one of them with the diuretic. Never made them take am I not taking a Lasix? I'm not taking a diet. I'm not taking. No. What? Look at you. You look amazing every day at 1 o'clock. Why am I going to change anything? You're going to get on stage at what time? 1 o'clock? Yeah, let's do what we've been doing.
And that was the refreshing part.
Yeah.
That's the refreshing part because we just need reality. We just need longevity. We just need nutrition. We don't need like dieting. We don't need like just help me. Like just what I'm going to do. And not all of my clients want to look like me. I mean, they do, but that's a lot, right? They want to look like me probably 3 weeks before my show.
Yeah. It's like I always say, everybody wants to look like you girls until they realize what it takes to look like you girls.
Exactly.
Okay? And that's a choice. Okay. And you choose that. And there's a certain level. This is a martyr sport, especially when you compete. So there's a certain level of, suffering that's going to be involved. Okay. If you don't want to suffer, that's okay. Doesn't mean you can't look good. But don't say you want to look like this because you're going to have to learn to suffer a little bit.
Yes. Because you have to push yourself to.
Martyr sport.
Yeah, I don't know. What do you think the percentage is of like that? How many people compete? What would you say? Like, what's the percentage of competitors to the average person? Like, 10%?
No.
20%?
No, 1%. If not less. Only 2% of the American public works out avidly, and that means do something more than twice a week. And that doesn't mean go to the gym. That means they run, they do a sport. 2% of Americans.
Remember, I'm a gym
owner, so I'm a commercial gym owner, so I know this. So.
That's why I ask you.
Yeah, if I Facebook market to, let's say, 25,000 people, and my ad reaches 25,000 people, maybe 10% will even click on the ad. Out of that 10%, out of that 250, maybe 6 will click through.
Yeah, I hear you.
Be honest with you, have the opportunity to, and then you have to try to sell to those 6 people, and you might get one. You might. But
if you did a test on just podcasts I want to listen to. Being healthy, then it's like 20%. Because they could just listen to it.
Yeah.
They don't have to do anything.
I don't have to do anything. I'm just gonna
hey, I'm listening to it. I'm gonna get fit.
Knowledge, I'll get better.
So I mean, that's the whole thing. That's why I did the podcast. It's just like, let's just talk about basics, and then you can let's standardize and then talk about optimize. That's just, what is it? Is it trauma? Is it something? Because people carry weight different ways because they have other stuff in their head working around. Like, it's not just, you said it, it's not just the body, it's the mind. Like, you strengthen the mind, and when you do hard things, then it just like makes you stronger in another department of your life. Like, maybe I don't need to do that job.
all the years I've been doing this, I can tell a lot about somebody's personality and how they're going to be in their life, how they are in their daily life by the way they approach the gym. Mm-hmm. It always amazes me that the people that have the least amount to do are always 3 to 5 minutes late. A busy motherfucker is not late. You know why? Because if he's late, it fucks up his whole day. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it puts him behind all day. Successful people are never late. People who the least they have to do show up late. But it's their habits, and you got to break them of that. Like I'll say, there'll be times when somebody will walk into the gym and they'll be like 7 minutes late and be, I'm sorry, I'm sorry I'm late. I'm sorry you're late too. I can't get you in. Yeah. What do you mean? I said, well, I've already got 6 people, so it's unfair. And teach them a lesson. You go do cardio. Maybe I can get you in the next group. I've done that lots of times because it's accountability again. Mm-hmm. Hey, it's disrespectful to the rest of the people that are here busting their ass that you show up 7 or 8 minutes, and it changes the whole course of what we're going to do right now.
And the energy around it too.
Yeah. Kind of the energy around it and everything else. And I've done that numerous times, especially if it's a chronic.
You're so hardcore. I love you.
It's just one of those things because I do all group training. Okay. You know that.
Yes.
It don't matter to me if there's 2, 6 or 20. I can bust people's asses. I don't give a shit.
I know you can.
Sometimes the more mentally challenging it is for me and the more fun it is for me. But it's one of those things that, I'm going to hold you accountable and you owe the group, and nobody wants to be the turd in the group or the person that's the buzzkill of the group. You know what I'm saying? And if I don't look forward to you coming to the gym, it's going to be a problem because I'll fire you before you fire me. I'm just honest with them. Listen,
I know you are. I know, but that's why,
I'm not the right guy for you,
Right.
I'm okay with that. I would, because you know what, ultimately it's going to drive me nuts and they're not going to get the best of me, and they deserve the best of me. They're paying for it.
Right. That's so good.
And if I'm unable to give them my best because of, there's a personality conflict or whatever, it's okay. I would rather them have an opportunity to get a better fit somewhere else.
Right.
There's been people who I knew wouldn't be a good fit with me, and I've passed them down to Julie, and they've stuck with Julie for years and years and years. Mm-hmm. To train with Julie is a different experience than to train with me.
Right.
Okay. Even though I facilitate the workouts, it's just the approach, her mannerism, it's different.
Personalities.
I'm okay with that. Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Yeah. And sometimes they just don't. I have like 3 trainers, and I have Sandy now. Like I was like, where are you at, Sandy? Renton? Okay, I'll send you people. Like I'll send people to Fremont because I haven't been in Fremont for like a year. So, I just kind of, hey, you want to go train over here with Kim or Kendra or whoever we got going on? Like that's how we help ourselves. I think that's why it always comes back, because we always give, because the energy isn't always going to be with us. So maybe somebody else. So,
absolutely.
And when you're ready for a more of a solid plan, then right here, go see Davies. Like that's the thing.
Yeah, I train so many other trainers.
Mm-hmm. I told people that I like, this is the trainer of the trainer. So people that are listening, this is the trainer of the trainer. Yeah, like you would come and all of us trainers would come in. That's how I met Sandy. That's how I met Shannon. That's how I met all these other people, is because you would really kick her ass. But there was always other people here that were normal, that were average people, which was great too, because I also got to see that like other element of you where you're just like, just show up. And sometimes, you know what? We need to hear that as competitors. Just show up. Just do the fucking food plan. Like, do it.
Respect those people who are Joe Q publics and they're just like, listen, I don't want to compete, but I want to look like I do.
Yes.
And they put that effort in. And when they do, it is really rewarding to watch, because that person's trophy is going from a size 10 to fitting into a size 4 dress. Mm-hmm. And when she does, she'll cry like a baby. There's some, like I tell people all the time, how much did you weigh in the 8th grade? What size were you in 8th grade? Oh, I was a size 3. Well, that's what we can get back down to then, probably. Likely we can get back down to that. You probably were full-blown puberty in the 8th grade, and that's where, you basically processed and turned into a woman, and boom, guess what? I think we can get back down there. And when they do, and they believe in themselves, and they do that, it's like them winning the Olympia. The first time they aren't ashamed to go to the pool in a 2-piece.
Yes.
The first time they put on a little dress. Mm-hmm. Some of those stories are every bit as rewarding as some of these girls that have won some of the biggest shows in the world for me. Mm-hmm. It truly is. And I admire that a ton. Because they don't have that carrot out there. They're not, They don't have legions of fans and people, on their Instagram or whatever, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? That's just soccer mom trying to, I tease the girls all the time. You're just training for the bedroom Olympics. I say that shit all the time. I'm training for the bedroom Olympics. I just want to fuck with the lights on,
So true.
It is true. It's true.
It is. And you still want to feel sexy and feel good for yourself, not just for your partner, but for yourself. Like you still want to be able to wear that. Just because you're married, just because you're a mom. I mean, that was one of the main things I think when I first finished competing. I was like, you know what? I just want to be able to get out of being out of shape and just be what I used to do again. So let's compete. Can I still do it with a baby? And then I did, and it was so good. I felt so good.
It was a catalyst for you. Okay, you put that carrot out there, it was a catalyst, but you believed in yourself. And now once you got to that mountain again, we went up that mountain again.
Yeah.
And now, okay, you're okay with staying. You don't have to be here. You can be right here and be real happy right here.
Exactly.
Never going to bottom out ever again, because now this is your mom. This is your lifestyle. This is your zone.
Yeah. Perfect. And I think you can get comfortable with that enough to do it again and get better at it. Just like we did when we first competed for the first time. Yeah. Like for me, being overweight, I wasn't an athlete before, but being overweight, getting fit, keeping the weight off for a couple of years, and then going to do a show and being like, oh, I can get better. And then lining up with the right coach, I can really get better. That was amazing. And I think everybody has those layers, right? Everybody's at a different layer. Not everybody wants the same thing. No. And I think that's okay.
Hey, find your niche or find your comfort zone within this wellness, fit, healthy lifestyle. Okay. And then pursue it. And once you get there, maintain it. Once you get there, once you know the way, you know the path, then maintain it. You're gonna be happy.
But what I love about you too is you would also bring up what inspires you. If you want to go to a bike ride, go to a run, you don't always just have to compete. You can compete in other different things of your life.
With a lot of the old competitors I've had that I started with when they were in their 20s. I started with Julie when she's 22. Julie's 46 now. No, she just turned 47 the other day. She's 47 years old now. It's been 25 years together. I've got clients that have been with me the same ride with Julie. And you know what? When they got done competing, then it was triathlons, marathons, all the warrior dashes and all these other competitive things that still fulfill their competitive desire. Still they have a purpose to come to the gym.
Yes. And it inspires them. That's, it's all about inspiration. Thanks for staying on me and inspiring.
I got but I want to thank for the opportunity. I hope I can help you connect with more people out there, and I get reconnected with some of them. I know some of them who follow you still are some people who, I've always had, a thumb on. I love Sandy and Shannon and all those girls, Michelle and
Rose, Nicole and Rose, Denise. Nicole,
and I mean, I see those people and Paula. When I see all those people on Insta and stuff, then I always smile because they all look great. They're all still happy. You can tell they're all living for themselves and doing a great job. And it's always, like I said, the legacy of, where I started from being small to just branching out all over the country. And a big part of that was getting out there because I'm sorry, but your area of the country is a hub. I still, oh gosh, I'm embarrassed. Her name eluded me. She used to have the team with her boyfriend out there. She was an Adidas rep for the longest time. She used to come into Columbus and train with me. Polynesian.
Yes.
Oh my God, I'm embarrassed. I can't remember.
Kiana Fee.
Kiana.
Yeah.
I still on occasion get the, for a while she was working with a company that she was repping out here in Columbus. So she would jump in and, hey Mike, I'm in town on Tuesday morning. Can I come in? I'm like, hell yeah. So Kiana up in my gym and train. I love Kiana. She's tough.
Yeah. But that's it. You do, you've impacted us and you've been with us through many layers. You've been with me, single, starting the studio, single, married, and then kids, and then raising kids. So
what's really humbling for me is I'm training a lot of the kids of the parents I train. I'm still in the game.
But don't you love that they trust you?
Now I have their kids.
Yeah, and they trust you. They trust you with their 10-year-old, with their 12-year. That's an honor. I love that.
Oh, it is. I mean, I've got moms who have kicked ass and competed, and their daughters are coming up and they're kicking ass. They're bad. But you know what? They're better because guess what? That lifestyle was instilled in them.
Mm-hmm.
It truly was.
Yeah.
You know, and you can tell because you know they're miles ahead of where their parents were, and
Mm-hmm.
they're there because their parents instilled that lifestyle in them.
Yes.
But it's funny because I have a lot of kids now who I train their parents, or one of them, which is really cool. It's humbling, but it's cool.
I love that. I'm gonna have you back on with some of the girls. Like I'm gonna get Denise and Nicole and Sandy and Rose. We've been talking to Rose.
Crack the hell. I will
do it
on those girls.
I'm gonna do it. And it'll all be in Zoom. So we'll all be wherever we're at. So it'll be perfect, but I'll have you back on. Thank you so much for your time. I so appreciate it and love you. Bye-bye, my friend.